Okay, hey guys. So this is the second video. This is a detailed tutorial all about rhythm. Well, not all about rhythm, but the basics of rhythm. The first page we're going to look at is this one. Now this one I added, which is not in the book, what we call the 30-second note. So we're just going to go through to understand what's the difference between a name and what's the difference between the value of whatever that name is, okay? So the name of this symbol is a whole note, the circle. The note name is whole note. The symbol, how it looks like for the rest, is a square stuck underneath the line. If I draw that outside of the staff, which I should have done before, it would look like this. I'm drawing it right now. It would look like that over there. It would look like underneath, if it was on a ledger line above or below. Also, okay, so the one that is a half note is like a circle but with a stem. It's called a half note because it's half of 4. It's 2 beats rather than 4 beats value. And the square would be on top of the line, so it would look like this. If it was outside of the staff or above or below, it would look like kind of an old-fashioned hat. It would look like that. It would look like that, okay? And so the quarter note, or en français noir, donc ronde, blanche, noire, croche, double croche, triple croche. In French, in English, whole note, half note, quarter note, eighth note, 16th. It's got 2 lines, 2 flags on the stem, and then a 32nd note, which has 3 flags on the stem. Okay, so the names are whole, half, quarter, eighth, 16th, and 32nd note are the names. And the rests, once you get to the quarter rest, it looks like a little kind of squiggly shape thing, like that. And then this one has similarities in the sense that it has kind of a stem and has 1 flag on it, and it has a stem and 2, so that looks similar, but it's facing the other way. And it looks like the note, but it doesn't have a note head, it doesn't have a circle, okay? So that helps you identify the names of the notes. And then here I give a brief description of what its value is. Again, a whole note's value is 4 beats. One half note's value is 2 beats. 1 quarter note value is 1 beat. An eighth note is worth half of a beat. 16th note is worth 1/4 of a beat. So it's twice as fast or twice as short. Always the one that's below is twice as short as the one above. And this is the 32nd note. So because there are 32 of these for 1 whole note. So its name is how we divide the whole note. Whereas the value is how many beats that's worth. This is worth 4, that's worth 1. Each one is worth 1. Each one of these is worth half a beat, quarter of a beat, and 1/8 of a beat. So you can get a lot of answers on this. But then when you have questions about the equivalencies, about different rhythmic formulas, you have to use the rhythm tree, or table as I call it. I added this particular one here. So we're going to practice them a bit. So with my foot tap, I'll be able to tap the beat. So when I tap my foot, we'll be doing that particular value, the 1 per beat value. Okay. And then I added the 30-second notes, and we'll see how they relate in terms of value. So it's just going to go through that. So let's practice a whole note. So I'm going to tap 4 for nothing, and we can do it with our voice. Ta. Another time. Ta. And there's 2 per beat. So this is worth 2 beats. So I'm going to tap it on beat 1 and 2, 3, and 4, the other one. 2, 3, 4. Ta, ta. Do it again. Ta, ta. And here the beat, my foot tap is the beat. So here I'm performing on every foot tap. 1 per beat. 1 of these equals a beat. Ta, 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 ta. And you can see that there's a line showing you that what's equal to 1 of those is 2 of these. What's equal to 1 of those is 4 of these ones. See? And what's equal to 1 of these, this one here would be 8. but they would take 32 of these to equal that one. So what all of this equals one of those. 2 of these equals that. 4 of these equals that. 2 of these equals one of those. 4 of these equals that. So 4 of eighth notes equals 1 half note. Okay, so you get questions of equivalency. So if you understand that, you'll do well with all of that, except for the dotted. What does a dot mean? I'll go through that on the whiteboard a bit. Okay, so let's practice. I think let's practice the eighth. We practice that. Ta, 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 and then we use a T syllable to describe faster rhythms. T, 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 T. We did 8 times 2, so we did the 4 beats twice. Here we're going to do per beat 4 per beat, or in other words, 16. It's a 16th note. That means that there's 16 that fit the whole note, or there are 4 per beat. 4 of these equals one of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tiki 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 tiki. So I usually use the tiki tiki syllables for that. Tika tika tiki, and then we can use tiki tiki twice as fast to do 8 per beat. So that would be. I only did the first 8. I didn't do the other 3 groups of 8. So how many of these equals one of those? Well, 8 plus 8, 16. Right? If I connect the tree branches out to potentially 16. 8 plus 8 is one of those. Okay? So I think that should be pretty clear. Let's answer a few of these. So for example, here it asks you the question. So it asks you, what's the value? These ones here are saying, so the question says, write the number of beats that the following in notes and rests receive. So on this particular part, it's asking you to write the number of beats that the following notes and rests receive. So it's asking you, with that funny sentence, what is the value of that? So the 8th note is worth half of a beat, because you need to have 2 of these per beat. Okay? If you go to the rhythm tree, it's pretty clear that that's what it means. Right? One of these is, you got to have 2 of them equal to 1 beat. Okay, so one of these is worth half of a beat, right? 2 per beat, or one of them is equal to half of 1 beat, because you need 2 of them in the beat. Okay, I think that's pretty simple. So you should be able to figure that out using this particular chart to figure out these answers about the value, about the beat value. The next one is, then here, when it says type of note, that's basically the name of the note. So all you need to answer this is to use using this particular one here that has the names, mostly the names, okay? And I added like what the values are, but I mean, basically it's the name, okay? So this is a whole note, obviously. The other one is what? You look at it here. What does it say its name is? Blah, blah. There's the name of the note, okay? You can see the name of the note is written there. You can write it numerically or with letters, like it is there. So these are the names of the rest, names of the notes. Here, you have to answer what are equal. So these particular ones are very useful to use the trees, okay? But you need to have knowledge of dotted notes. So I'm gonna go through that just very quickly. So dotted notes, if I go here and I draw this one, which we know is worth 4, right? It lasts for 4 beats. Da, it's 4 beats. Da. If it's dotted, this dot is worth 1/2 of the value here, which is 4. So 1/2 of 4 is 2, right? So this is actually, this dot means that we're making it longer by half of the value of the note. So this is worth 4. Dotted quarter note, a dotted whole note. This is called a whole note. Whole of 4. It's called a whole note. It's worth 4 beats. And we add, so it's going to last for 6 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can draw it like, it can look like that, or it can be drawn, it could also look like this. with a tie. Looks like a face with a smile, but so this is 4 plus 2. This is exactly the same thing as this, the dotted. So this one here is worth 2. If it's dotted, it's worth 3. Because it's worth 2 plus 1/2 of 2, which is 1. So it's worth 2 beats. So it's ta, 3 beats. Or it can also look like this. Da. Whatever to the right of the slur is not restarted but sounding. So this would be 3 beats long. It can look like that or like this. It's the same thing. These are also, so this is the same and so is that. That's worth 3 beats as well. So this one, that is quarter is worth 1. That's worth 1 beat. But if it's dotted, it's worth 1 1/2. 1 1/2 beats. So how would we do that in a rhythm? Let's say if we had a rhythmic formula, we'd have, let's say, a dotted. Let's say that we had a formula like this. So these are the beats. Da, da, da. That would be that rhythm. Da, da, da. Da, da, da. Okay? So that's 1 1/2. This is 1 beat. This beat 2. So this would be 1 1/2 would be halfway through this beat. See? And that permits you to do like off beats. Okay? If we had a dotted 8th note, an 8th is worth, this would be an 8th note, it's worth 1/2 a beat, right? So that's worth 1/2. So that would be 1/2 plus what's 1/2 of 1/2? A quarter. So that would be 3/4 of a beat if it was dotted, right? 1/4 is 1/2 of 1/2. So that would be 3/4 of a beat. For example, if I had a rhythmic formula here, I'd have a dotted 8th, probably followed by a 16th note. That would be within 1 beat. Let's say something like that. Dum, da, 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 da. Okay? So this would be 3/4 of a beat, not quite a beat. Beat 1, beat 2, and then that note would arrive just before them. I don't know if the dots make sense, okay? So the dot is always 1/2 of the value of whatever note is to the left of it, okay? I hope that clears up how we do that. And you can see that here on that other page. If you look very carefully, you can see, not on that one, but on the previous page, here, descriptions of that. So you can see that very clearly a dotted whole note is equal to a whole plus a 1/2 note. So normally, to make it sound the same, if we were to perform it, we'd have to have this. Otherwise, we have to restart the sound. So in these other questions that you have here, you can use that to help you. So for example, we know that if we go to the rhythm tree for that one, 2 of those, right? What it's telling you to write 1 note down. So the answer for that, if you go here, you can figure out what is one that ties in the tree above it. So 2 of those is like 2 of those, right? 2 of those equals that, right? 2 of those equal that. So 1 that equals that would be that one, would be the quarter note. That would be correct as an answer. You get that right. 1 note that is equal to that. Well, I'm not going to give you the answers to all, but you go to the 2 of these will probably obviously equals that one, right? 2, 1, 2 plus 1, 2 equals 1 of those. So that would be the answer here. I'm not going to do all your answers for you, but that would be the answer there, okay? And so forth. Here it's a little bit more complicated. Here's where you're going to need to use on the other page, on the last page. So this is asking you 1 rest that is equal to the following notes. So what's the rest? If you go here on the other, you can find the answer. The one that has the rests N. So the rest that looks like that would be the one that is the square above the line. So it would look like that. That would be correct. That would be the correct answer there. Okay, like that. This one is the whole note. The whole note there. So that'd be like that one, but the line would be below the line. Okay. Here it's asking you 3 notes. So for example, in the second to last one, this one that's dotted is worth 3 beats. It's worth 2 plus half of 2, right? So you write 3 notes. So you can write this. You write the 1 beat notes. This would be the answer. You see? That's equal to that. Okay? So you're finding what's equal to what? This one here. Let's see, if I go here, this is 1, so you'd have to write the dotted one. This would be the dotted whole note, dotted quarter note. This one dotted, so this is half of that. That's the same thing as that, right? Remember we showed it, we saw that on this, on that particular sheet, okay? That one there is equal to, not that one there, but this one is equal to that. Okay, again, so that's the same thing as 1.5 would be this, which is 1 plus tied to that one. That's equal. Okay, but these are 2 notes. This is 1 note. So if you had, what is that equal to that? Well, that's the question that's here. You can see what that's the same thing, right? That thing there is that thing there. Okay. I think that should be pretty clear. Let's just, there's one I think I'll give 2, and then you do the others by yourself. So it's asking you to write 1 note that is equal to those 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which is 1 note equal to 6? Well, we saw that in there. That one that's dotted, right? The whole note that's dotted is 1 note equal. So that would be correct. I hope that kind of helps you about how to figure that out, how to use these to figure all that out, okay? The value